Pupils in England who missed school during the first week back in September 2024 were more likely to miss large parts during the rest of the year, figures suggest. More than half, 57%, of pupils who were partially absent in week 1 became persistently absent, missing at least 10% of school, according to government data first seen by the BBC. By contrast, of pupils who fully attended the first week, 14% became persistently absent. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson said schools and parents should double down to get children in at the start of the 2025 term, which is this week for most English schools. The Conservatives said Labour's schools bill had dismantled a system that had driven up standards for decades. A head teachers' union said more support was needed outside of the school gates to boost attendance. Schools have always grappled with attendance issues, but they became much worse after the pandemic in 2020 and schools closed to most pupils during national lockdowns. Attendance has improved since, but it remains a bigger problem than before COVID. Overall, about 18% of pupils were persistently absent in the 2024-25 school year, down from a peak of 23% in 2021-22 but higher than the pre-COVID levels of about 11%. The Department for Education (DfE) said the data from the first week of the 2024-25 school year showed the start of term was critical for tackling persistent absence. Carl Stewart, head teacher at Shaftesbury Junior School in Leicester, said his school's attendance rates were higher than average but there was a definite dip in the 2 years after COVID. I get why. Some of that wasn't necessarily parents not wanting to send them in. It was because either they had got COVID or other things. They were saying, "We'll just keep them off now to be sure," he said. The school has incentives like awards and class competitions to keep absence rates down, and Mr. Stewart said attendance had more or less returned to pre-COVID levels. "When we have the children in every day, the results are just better," he said. "If you're here, that gives you more time for your teacher to notice you, for us to see all that good behavior, and that really hard work, and that's what we want." But like lots of schools, he said some parents still took their children on unauthorized term time holidays to make the most of cheaper costs. Others, he said, have taken children for medical treatments overseas to avoid NHS waiting lists. The Education Secretary said that while attendance improved last year, absence levels remain critically high, putting at risk the life chances of a whole generation of young people. "Every day of school missed is a day stolen from a child's future," Phillipson said. As the new term kicks off, we need schools and parents to double down on the energy, the drive and the relentlessness that's already boosted the life chances of millions of children, to do the same for millions more. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more news updates. The DfE said 800 schools were set to be supported by regional school improvement teams through attendance and behavior hubs. These hubs are made up of 90 exemplary schools which will offer support to improve struggling schools through training sessions, events, and open days. It said it had appointed the first 21 schools that will lead the program. However, Pepe Diaisio, General Secretary of the Association of School and College Leaders, said attendance hubs were not a silver bullet, and a more strategic approach was needed. "I think the government has worked really hard to improve attendance, and it continues to be a priority for them, but there's certainly more to do," he told the BBC. "So many of the challenges that school leaders are facing come from beyond the school gates: children suffering with high levels of anxiety, issues around mental health." He said school leaders wanted quicker access to support for those pupils and specialist staff in schools, but pupils also needed great role models in the community through youth clubs and volunteer groups. Shadow Education Secretary Laura Trott said, "Behavior and attendance are two of the biggest challenges facing schools, and it's about time the government acted." She added, "There must be clear consequences for poor behavior, not just to protect the pupils trying to learn, but to recognize when mainstream education isn't the right setting for those causing disruption."